Let's get this thing rolling, and we both got some stories from today. So
that's what I'm waiting on.
Let's roll. I'm waiting on you, man. You're the one that you're supposed to intro us.
Why do I always have to intro?
That's fine. Okay.
You're the owner of the company, number one.
You're the one who always takes over and does it. You don't let me do it.
I don't care if you do. You just got to do it right. If you're gonna do it right, brother.
So there's something different today, guys. There's something different. What did we do?
My wife's in the room.
Well, yes, she is.
Say hi, honey.
I can't move a camera, but she's there. We'll put up a picture.
But
the other thing.
The other thing, David. What's the other thing? I don't know.
The other thing.
Check it out.
We got shirts.
What did I finally accomplish? Yeah,
And a
Tristan
cup?
has a cup with a logo. So on the back of our shirts, you cannot see it, but it says TRIFLIX Crew.
Oh, you can see it.
Yeah, turn around, Tristan. Show us your good side.
Look at this. Look how nice this is. And well, actually, the other thing. If you'd like to see this full design here, just go to our Instagram or our Facebook page because we've posted plenty about it so far.
You see it?
And if you like them, tell us.
You can buy them,
And eventually, you might be able to.
you'll buy them.
Eventually.
No, just send us the money. P.O. Box 4030 P. Sherman 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney. And we'll send you the shirts.
Go to TRIFLIXstore.com.
So, but we're finally
Just
branding.
send the cash order. We'll return the address with the
whole thing should just be a troll. Like you go to TRIFLIXstore.com.
Just redirects to LTTstore.com.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about something exciting.
What do we have on the docket for today?
Well,
what are we talking about?
Tell us about what happened to you today. Let's start with that.
I'll talk about the one I want to talk about.
Yes, talk about the one you want to talk
We're
about.
not talking about the other one.
That's
I don't
fine.
want to talk about that.
That's fine, buddy. We don't have to.
Well, today I had to go through some footage and get it off of a card because we shoot and it goes on a card and then we plug in our computers and we get the footage off. Well, we have a process where the footage goes from the card to the computer into our editing software and it's there and we have a video explaining how that works.
It's a wonderful video.
It's a great tutorial if you want to edit videos. However,
if you like out of focus videos from media companies.
Yeah.
well,
It's part of the charm. Okay.
it's
Yeah.
I have a huge problem with this and you know this.
you put in what you
Should've
get out
recorded
or something like that. But regardless,
It's out there.
I needed to clean off that card, and I deleted everything on the card,
mean,
and then I
like-
hit eject.
Like scrub it with like a sponge,
Like-
when you clean off
Yeah.
a card.
He has a
If you're
dishwasher.
watching this, you have a computer, you know what it means to delete something off your card.
You
all
said
right?
clean it off.
Clean it off. You gotta
Wipe it.
scrub it down.
Use the Clorox wipes.
Well, I deleted it, and then I went to eject the card. It says, cannot eject, card is being used. And I was like, well, that's weird. Why is it being used? It turns out the...
You didn't hit force eject?
Is that an option?
Yeah, no, that's an option. Like
Going out.
sometimes mine will pop up and say that like this can't be ejected, it's being used or something. I just hit force eject.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I'm glad you didn't.
because I double check and
It's really smart.
If a card's completely empty and it says it's being used somewhere, it's probably wrong. So
The computer or the card?
Something's wrong.
Something's wrong.
Yeah.
The card's empty. It can't be used if there's nothing on it. So I went to check, and the video editing software, all of our files were missing, and it said that they were supposedly linked with the SD card. That is against our process. It should never have that issue.
It should have never happened.
It's against TRIFLIX policy.
So it could be a fluke. It could be Apple. I don't think there was a possible way where it was me not following the process. So we may need to change our process.
I think what happened, I did some post-mortem investigation. I think what happened is we had one specific project that we wanted to import the files but leave them in their place. And we went into the special import menu where you can select that or not before you do the import.
So-
and I think it saved those settings and
remembered.
then it boned them.
Yeah. So we did something in our settings that was beneficial to us at one point.
It's
You
very
like
technical term.
Bone 'em. Yep. Boned.
It's Bonham.
Bond. That's why you're laughing so
Bonham.
much.
I don't know why we thought that
Bone
was so funny at the time, but it's still kind of funny.
I'm so sad.
Good job, Bonham.
All right, so you guys are tracking right now. We had some files, we deleted them, and we're trying to figure out what's wrong with the process. Regardless, it was a 9,000 square foot, multi-million-dollar property that we shot, and the footage was gone. It was deleted. The trash can was empty, and all that footage went
4 hour shoot.
4 hour shoot. That's right, and it was gone. And the question is, could we get it back? Luckily,
the house wasn't there either, so we couldn't go back.
Yeah, as soon as the footage was gone, we went back to shoot it, and it was gone too. Correlation? I don't know.
We are not going back to reshoot that. We have file recovery software that I've invested in before because I have a habit of deleting things.
Only you, just you.
Just
You're the only
me.
person.
Actually, where is it? I have
nobody else here.
I have proof today
No.
that other people delete things, and I brought this for another story.
Okay.
But
I don't know the story.
It's not a good story.
Let's finish one at a time. So we had to recover all this footage, and it turns out we were able to. However, like for the first 20 minutes, I'm panicking because I'm trying to figure out what is going on with our process. So we've never had this issue before with Final Cut. You think it's specifically something we changed in our settings.
Yes.
I think it's a fluke because I did the file import process, and it should not be a problem if you do file import and you set it up properly.
Yeah, but isn't there there's always a possibility that something got changed or unchecked, especially when we were changing process. So
Yeah. We went outside of our process.
Yeah.
And
This doesn't scare me.
Yeah, I'm not scared.
No, stuff happens. There's always a margin of error. We're all human.
I'm glad you're satisfied with that answer.
Just saying. You can't mitigate all the risk. You can try as much as possible, but you think it's a problem with Final Cut or our process?
I think it was either the Big Sur update or Final Cut update.
So then how do we? So okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. So maybe you got an update and then it just reset some settings.
Oh, that makes sense. But regardless, the reason
big brain stuff over here.
The reason this is a problem is I have two separate drives. One we flew with a drone. Three separate drives. Drone, your camera, and then the Ninja. We had 3 drives. I imported all of them. I deleted everything off of all 3 cards, and the only one that had issues of not getting saved in the project was the Ninja, and the Ninja is a big fancy piece of equipment that we use to shoot our professional shoots.
Yeah,
so
it's not a martial art.
I followed the process on all 3 of these, and 1 out of 3 failed. That's why I think it's a fluke.
Yeah,
and
that makes sense.
I think it's software.
Okay, I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
If you told me, I just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, because that technically would have 3 different types of media: a micro SD, an XQD, and a Ninja.
Yeah. So I don't know what it all means, but because it happened 20 minutes ago, but we're gonna figure it out.
It was such a long time ago.
Huh.
For my brain.
But these are the things that you deal with on a day-to-day basis of figuring out the small nuances that come with just putting together large quantities of data.
Yeah. So I guess what is Mr. Efficiency Manager? What is the lessons learned? If somebody wants to start a company and they want to start storage and stuff happens or to avoid stuff, I don't know. What's the lesson? What do we do?
Well, we've done a good job and we've decided on a process for what we want to do. I think the only thing here where you could learn from is that just make sure you're doing the process every time. Even because people get stuck in ruts. Tristan and I were talking maybe a week ago that the most common place for accidents to happen when you're driving is when you're a mile away from home. Mm-hmm. So in things that you become comfortable with is the area around your house. You're oh, I don't need to think about how I'm driving because this is somewhere I'm at all the time. Same thing with
absolute a-hole. Why would you bring that up? You know how it makes me feel.
I'm sorry.
He knows I'm going to bring up something that involves him later, and I feel like you're just pulling up all these minute little details in your story to call me out.
I'm not doing anything.
No.
I don't know.
Okay,
this is
I'm not picking up on that.
You okay?
I think someo's being a little self-conscious.
You're trying to start some beef?
I'll start some beef with David.
I hear some moos going on.
No beef. No beef.
Yeah, no, I think I should have. There's one extra step that I need to add to my regular process, and that is to hit the consolidate button before ejecting to make sure everything's in there properly. However, you're bringing up a lot of
Yeah.
Good point.
It wasn't directed at you. I'm just saying everybody gets comfortable with their process and is like, I don't need to follow the instructions. I've done this 1,000 times, because at some point, like, you don't need to follow them anymore because your brain knows what to do.
Yeah.
And that's not a fault of Tristan. That's just like, that's what we do.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
But software can change
And it
without
can
us even thinking about it. I mean, that's like the whole Photoshop update. I still...
What's the Photoshop update?
Okay, so Adobe, being Adobe, they updated Photoshop, and they said that Mac changed their APIs when they went to Big Sur and with a recent update, and so you couldn't save as the same way as before. So now if you want to overwrite a file, or like, so, you know, if I want to like save something and overwrite it, which I've done in the past 1,000,000 times, because as soon as you make a large edit in Photoshop, it wants to save it as a Photoshop file and not a JPEG again. Just to obviously conserve your work. But the problem is now is if you want to save it as and overwrite your original JPEG, you literally have to like save as, hit save a copy, and then it pulls up a new dialog box, which then adds copy to the end of your file name.
Oh my gosh.
So now you have to go in, hit save a copy, delete the last part of your file name now, and then you can overwrite it. So they added like 3 extra steps to a process that was efficient to begin with. And they blamed it, as soon as people complained, they blamed it on Apple. But they did the same thing on Windows, just so you know. It's across the board.
Yeah.
And I was like, come on. But people are not happy about it.
How do you feel about it?
I don't like it. Because it's the same reason, right? It's like you go in, you use your Final Cut, you import your footage, you've done it the same way. We do it the same way every day. And then they change something, and then now you either have to, you're used to it. You have the muscle memory, whatever it is, and you're just always like, oh, I'm just going to do this. And then every time it hits you, and you do the wrong thing, and you're like, okay, hold on a second. And you have to relearn it. And for us, that is time consuming, and time is money.
Well, plus the 3 extra clicks every time you're exporting is kind of tedious.
And that's a large part of my process, because I bring in a JPEG for my, like, let's say I need to do sky replacement. I bring in the JPEG that I've already...
What's the sky replacement, though?
So
you can't just brush over that word.
I don't know. That
fancy.
Seems kind of...
Sky.
Yeah, it seems kind of self-explanatory.
You can just change the sky.
Why would you want to change the sky? That's a better question.
So, because Indiana is a crapshoot when it comes to weather, and some people need their pictures quickly, especially in the real estate world. So if I go shoot something and you have a white or gray sky, there's no definition in the clouds. There's just nothing going on.
It's not pretty.
It does nothing for the aesthetics of the house.
So we do that as a service.
Yeah. So I go into Photoshop, and this was a recent build-in, which is super nice. I used to use a different program, but now you just hit edit, go down to sky replacement in that menu, and then it automatically masks out the sky, and you can pick what you want. Now, that mask always needs to be tweaked, so don't think this is like a fix-all, but you got to understand how to manipulate a mask.
Yeah, you got to work it.
You got to work it. Because anything that's a similar color to the sky will also get masked. So a lot of times you have to, like, most of the trim on a house is white, especially along the roof line. And so most of the time I have to take that and mask it out. So anyways, I don't know how we got down this whole rabbit hole.
I just asked about the sky.
Yeah, you just asked about the sky. So anyway, so that's part of that process. I will bring in a JPEG, put the new sky in, and then it wants to save it as a Photoshop file. So I usually would like overwrite, save it, and be done, because I don't need the 2 files. It's the new file. It's the only one I need. It's redundant. I'm out. And now I have to go through an extra 3-step process, and it's already time consuming. But when you span that across 20 to 30 images, it adds up.
Yeah,
that's true.
It happens when just developers just don't use the products they're making, and they just make changes like, oh, this will make it different. And it's just like, no, you don't.
People will love it.
Bad.
Speaking of developers putting in things they don't do.
What type of segue is this?
I know, right?
Did you guys see the Amazon meditation boxes?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, I just read about it today.
I didn't look into the videos of that. I just thought it was stupid, and I didn't look into it. What is that?
Some dude that's never worked in a plant in his life thought that all these stressed employees just needed to meditate, so they have these like little phone booth. They're probably just repurposed phone booth. They probably went to a junkyard, and they're like, hey, we can get like 100 of these for $30. And then they just take them and they put them on their Amazon warehouse floors. And if you're stressed, you can just go in there and cry.
Just go sit in a box by yourself.
They said it plays soothing music or will also talk to you with like
meditation.
Yeah, and they can sit in there in this room and like meditate for a little while so they feel better. And I'm like, nothing like getting squeezed into a box.
Yeah,
to
it
feel
has like
not stressed.
a little app called Amazon.
Oh my gosh, it does
like
not. No, I got it.
Amazon's a shipping company, so it's like they put their own employees into a box.
A box.
And they
What's
send
in the
them off
box?
to the next warehouse.
So yeah, no.
Hey John, when you're done with the box, man, it's my turn.
Little segue. Just it's funny whenever somebody offers a suggestion or an innovative idea on something they know so little about, or like even just invested in the time into researching it. You know, you could just walk on the floor and like, hey, you work here. What do you like? And I guarantee you could interview every person on the Amazon work floor. Not a single one of them said, I want to be in a box and cry.
Right. Give me a box.
Give me a box. I want to sit in one of those.
I agree with David. I think the last thing they want to see is another box.
They want to go outside.
Right?
Somebody walks in and somebody's going by and just mistakes it for a package and just starts like wrapping it up.
Mail it off somewhere.
Oh man. Oh man. Well, speaking of funny, before we get into it, just a little more lightheartedness, you guys.
Wait, hold on.
I fell today.
You fell?
I fell today on a shoot.
Oh no.
Your hip?
Practically did the splits.
Oh no.
I made an audible noise when I hit the ground.
Old man noise?
Like yeah. So and luckily I was in the woods. But today it was rainy. Here's a great example of a house that's going to need sky replacement. So they insisted that I shot this, which is fine. I can make it work. I tell them the risk and what it might look like, but we can mitigate a lot of that. But anyways, so I'm walking around this house. Number one, I am wearing the wrong pair of shoes today, but I'm walking around this house. I get to the back and I'm like getting ready to frame up my shot. And of course I have to hold the camera and an umbrella at the same time. So I'm like walking through and all of a sudden I don't know what happened. I like lost my footing and I did the splits and caught myself with my knee but I went all the way down and the camera lens like hit the ground as well. And I just went echoed through the trees.
Oh no.
And I got my big old butt off the ground and was just like, it was raining already. My feet are soaked. My knee is covered in mud. My shoes covered in mud. The lens has water all over it. And I'm just like, I'm looking around hoping she didn't see me from the window inside the house of me on the ground. So I had to go back to the car and like clean off the camera and the lens and get all the water off of everything. And I had to go home and change before the next shoot. So
in the middle of that, did you once think about how you wanted a box to cry in?
A little bit.
You want an Amazon box?
I wish that I just had a box to cry.
Dude, we're gonna go to the junkyard and go find a phone booth.
Well, and then I had to walk the rest of the property and it was more mud and I was just, so then I didn't really care. But the problem was my shoes were still ultra slick and I'm like, I'm going to fall again. And I mean, at all costs, we all know this, like you save the camera. Like you go down and you save the camera. Yeah. Like if that thing gets dipped in mud, that's a bad day.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
so there you go.
It was a great day.
Yeah. I think we should like rename the podcast to like the phone booth or the Zen box. And it's just us coming in here ranting about all these bad projects, like all these little hindrances that come along in our shoots during the week. just this is the place we come to cry. This is our box.
But it is funny because like, you know, she gave me a lot of compliments. She was very happy with the job that I did. And it's just funny that at the end of the day, these little parts of it, if no one listens to this, you know, if the 100 people that listen to these, like if they are not clients or people like that, like they have no idea that these things happen. And we just like get up, keep ticking. She had no clue. I did my job and got out of there, and she was very happy with the job that I did. So it's like funny, you know, and then there's always these stories behind the scenes. It's just like when I use the, you know, the ironing board for a tripod, like, oh my gosh, the client has no clue, but they got what they needed. Which is the fun part for us. So
it's so fun.
Anyways, so I'm done ranting now. Appreciate it, guys. But what else we got on the docket?
Well, you kind of I know you maybe didn't attend it. Maybe it was just coincidence. But talking about your little analogy of getting in wrecks, most of them occur close to home, and your little spill. I recently got a new hobby. I like longboarding. I like it a lot. I ride my longboard everywhere I go. I got it less than a month ago. I got 80 miles on it. It's a special longboard.
Can't wait to have this conversation.
It's got a motor on it. You happy?
Huh?
You happy?
Yeah.
No, I'm always happy when I'm right, but
Yeah. Well,
What happened?
come on, go ahead.
All these cool YouTubers in New York got these neat apartments with exposed brick and wood floors, and they ride longboards around New York, and they live downtown, and they're cool. Well,
Casey Neistat.
Yeah.
That's it,
Maybe
right?
Casey
No,
Neistat.
No, I know other ones.
Craig Adams was another one I really like. Craig's a cool dude, but now he does adventure travel and goes hiking in other countries.
Oh, okay.
Regardless, Casey Neistat still lives this way from what I know. And I like it. I think it's cool. And I got a longboard because I've always wanted one, and I had a friend that was selling it. So I picked it up, been riding it for the last month, and I started out going real slow, and then I started being able to hit the max speed pretty consistently without any troubles, which is 27 miles per hour. That's pretty fast.
That's fast.
Yeah, you
No,
don't
that's
have
fast.
seat belts. You don't have like airbags.
no.
You just got a helmet on.
It's
right?
a little helmet with holes
It's a little
all
helmet,
over.
27 miles per hour.
It's a cute little helmet, yeah.
It's pretty cute.
So I've put 70 plus almost 80 miles on it now, and I ride it everywhere. I go to the store to pick up groceries and stuff. Just anytime I have an excuse to go ride the board, I'll go out. We go riding with your bike sometimes. So.
Yeah, I get a workout and he stands there.
It's relaxing for me.
He has said that it causes a lot of strain to his joints and his hips. So
Yeah, he has to stand and like sometimes
I did not.
leans back and gets lean forward a little bit. And then, oh man, it's tough.
Well, here's the thing. If you just a little side tangent, if you want to lose weight, it's real simple. You just burn more calories than you consume. It's that easy. And when you're riding a board doing 27 miles per hour, I can tell you right now, your heart rate's pretty high, and you're going to be burning a lot of calories. I'm scared half the time, but that's what gives it the thrill. And I go all the way to Kroger from my house. It's like 2 miles there. I get about 20 feet from my house. And I've been doing 27 miles per hour this whole time, back and forth. And, cars are driving by. Everybody's real nice. They're honking and waving. Actually, I saw David on my way home. He honked and waved too.
I went like,
should have hit him.
get him off the road.
Should have hit him.
Got
He
close.
was on the other side, so I couldn't.
But yeah, I get real close to all these nice people waving. I'm so close to my home. I can see it. I see the window. I see where my wife would be sitting when she's on her computer. And I look up there and I'm just thinking about how beautiful of a day it is. And in that middle of a side thought, I lose focus on the board. And all of a sudden, I am on my butt. I'm on my butt in pain, and my butt and my hand are on fire, and my water bottle falls out of my backpack and goes rolling down the road. And as I'm like laying on the ground looking up at the sky, from one moment I'm standing, I'm on the ground, and all I can hear is just this metal tingling sound of it just like going down the road. And
The bottle.
the bottle,
The bottle's rolling away.
I can't move anything, and I'm like, I'm just gonna lay here for a while.
In the road? You're laying in the road?
I'm just laying in the road. I'm just like,
What time of day?
like 5.
Oh,
Rush hour.
Okay.
And then some jogger comes around the corner, and he heard the water ball. He picks it up. He looks at it. It's just covered in scuffs, and it's got a dent in it at this point. And he's just like looking at it, and then he looks the direction of where the water ball was rolling from. He just sees me laying on the ground, just kind of smiling, looking up at the sky. And my head just kind of like rolls over, like, hey.
Oh my God.
He's like, you okay? I'm like, so you wear a helmet?
Oh my gosh.
Up.
And like a little music plays, and it's
the
like
credits
some TBS, or not TBS, was the
PBS?
PBS, yeah. It's like some little ad for health and safety. So yeah, he's a nice guy. I met him, and he gave me my water bottle, helped me up, and I scooted my way home for the last 20 feet. It looked way worse than it was. I got home, I had some road rash on my hip, and had a little cut on my hand. And I think we've done a video on backpacks. We haven't put it out yet, but we've done a video on backpacks. I've been doing a lot of research on backpacks.
Yeah, it's sad.
It's
Way too much time.
Way
Yeah,
too much.
too much
It's a
time.
problem. But it's been decided after that wreck, the backpack I was wearing is the best backpack in the world because it ate all the fall. I went to the store to Kroger. There was a loaf of bread in there, so that saved me quite a bit of damage. That loaf of bread was that was flat.
You're gonna end up on my strange addiction. So I buy backpacks
and I ride longboards. So yeah, the water bottle, the backpack, and the bread just ate that fall. And now every time I'm riding my board, it's like the trapeze artist that you're fine until someone says don't fall, and that's the one time you fall. And now anytime I get on the board, I'm so anxious, and it's kind of killed the relaxing aspect of it, and it's more of just an it's like an exercise now, less of a fun thing. So I think if I just keep at it, eventually it'll go back to normal. Maybe.
Well, you sent a video to us in our little conference room chat. And I don't think Cole even responded to it.
No, because he and I had a conversation face to face about all of this as well.
Yeah.
So
So who do you agree with, me or Tristan, before we begin?
Oh, I'm on your side.
Okay. Yeah. So the video is of a guy recording people on skateboards or longboards
and cruisers,
and he's like, he's like, guys, I want to do this with my longboard. And I'm like, okay, cool. You're using the longboard to like record stuff while you have a gimbal. So like all your weight and stuff is like messed up normally because you don't usually hold things while you're on a skateboard like that. But I watched the video, and within the first 10 seconds, the guy's like, I do not recommend you ever do this. This is the worst idea ever. I don't even like doing this. But it's fun. And Tristan's like, but we can do it. We need to learn how. And then
think we do.
And I so wanted to, like, because we even talked about it, and I'm like, I'm not comfortable with it, but if you feel confident, we'll talk about it. It could be cool. It could be interesting. And he was like, and I was like, have you wrecked? And he's like, no, dude, I haven't. Like, I've got it figured out. And then literally like 2 days later, this happened. Yeah. And I'm like, and I don't know if we should put our only gimbal and half of our camera gear on a system that you could fall.
Right. A loaf of bread's not going to save your gimbal and your camera.
Nah.
You can't. That's what insurance is for.
That's what insurance is for, man.
Right. As they take a month to pay out and get us new gear, and then
I'll spot it until it gets reimbursed.
Still, we'd have to order it.
Idea.
What if we lost jobs, man?
We don't even have shoots.
We have to support David.
This. Yeah, me. What about me? You're not thinking about me, man. What about me?
What about me, man?
Oh, you can't think about yourself or your gimbal.
It's a little sketch. It's a little sketch. I mean, I get it.
Sketchy.
You got the last lessons learned, David. I take this one. Here's the thing. If you're gonna do, I got the lesson here.
It's like if you want to grow your business, you got to take risks, and that means putting your whole career on the line.
Okay,
we don't even have shoots that require
this. That's a Jeremy Miller side tangent. I want to talk about that one later. This whole episode, we're just gonna something to do with risks or I don't know.
Risk management.
Yeah,
Sophie.
I can see it now. The title is "Risk It for the Biscuit."
Risk it for the biscuit.
And I'm just gonna. It's just gonna be like the thumbnail is the three of us, but then we're gonna be swimming in a sea of biscuits.
Yeah. We don't even have biscuits to risk this for. You just want to do this because it looks cool. That's bad.
No, that's a perfectly good reason.
No.
Here's the
everybody
thing.
Hold your biscuit.
The lesson.
Where's the biscuit?
Is important. There yeah. Everybody get the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Is your biscuit growing?
I wanted to give you variation in the shot.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
Side tangent. It has nothing to do with filmmaking. This is just in general. If you gotta do something borderline stupid, pay attention. Like that's it. Just if you're gonna be doing fast speeds, pay attention. If you're gonna speed, if you're going to go jogging at night, like give that activity 99% of your focus. Like every once in a while there's a butterfly, I get it, but like most of the time
he gets it more than you guys know.
Yeah.
Too much.
The problem was I was almost home, as David was talking about, like the analogy being the more comfortable you are with a situation, the more relaxed you get, and then you get false security. False security leads to mistakes, and the mistakes can be, as simple as, I accidentally deleted some extra files. I need to use my recovery software and get them back. to I'm going to the emergency room because I fell off a board doing about 10, 15 miles per hour. I feel comfortable that if I were holding a gimbal and giving it all my focus, I would be fine. Starting at slow speeds, working up to about 8 miles per hour. That's something, even if I fell off, I can catch myself. I can run 8 miles per hour with a gimbal. It's not a big deal. I'm not advocating 27. The guy that does it in the videos you were referring to goes about 50 miles per hour downhill, and he doesn't have an electric board, so there's no brakes. He has to manually stop.
Oh man, I didn't even watch it.
He's using a steady rig, which is even less safe than a gimbal.
Not.
So a gimbal has motors, and everything is moving in a controlled manner with a computer. The computer tells it where to go. With a steady rig or an easy rig, you have a handle and you have weights on the bottom. You have a camera on the top and a rod that connects all of it. And then you have to hold it in a very particular way in order for your shots to look stable. And it takes so much focus to do that alone, just standing still. So
I have one. We should make you do it.
No, yeah, we'll put it. So the board has low mode, which is about 4 miles per hour.
Okay.
I could fall off that, land on my butt, and
you'd be fine.
Yeah, there's not a problem. So this would actually be a fun video.
I like
this.
it. I like where we're going with this. Somebody remember this
video.
Yeah, maybe we could just put a mattress or something on the ground.
40 of them along ways.
We just follow you with it.
Yeah, we need to rent out one of those gymnastic centers, and so if we just fall, it's just everything's just a soft mat.
To go to
it would be really bad though, for sure. If you fell with the gimbal, especially because all those motors are working, the torque is on, it's stabilizing the camera, and then if you were to hit the ground, it would just shove that motor in a different direction and everything. It could be bad. And we only have one gimbal. I mean, we have 2 cameras, but we only have one gimbal.
Thank God for 2-day shipping.
So it's not even like a hoverboard though. This is another reason why I don't like it. Your electric skateboard has a controller, maybe a little bit thinner than this, but you want to hold the gimbal and the controller in your hand,
about that.
And you have to control the speed and the brake, and you have to hold everything.
You got that inverted.
We'll hold the remote.
The remote is about as thin as the phone is, and then the handle's about an inch diameter. And
it's the other way, but it's still about you're holding something this.
You could probably get it on the handle just right here where your thumb is.
I was testing.
We could zip tie it.
I was testing it out already. We can zip tie it. That would be a great idea. However, Dane came over. Your cousin, my best friend.
He hooked us up, didn't he?
Yeah, he hooked it up because he's like, it'd be real fun is if we took turns sitting on the board. And I was like, yeah, sure. And he's like, what if the person not on the board had the remote control?
Yes.
And I was like, dude, this is such a bad idea.
So bad.
Well, this would be a full story then. So we're riding, and this is the first time he's ever rode a longboard or a skateboard or anything. He has a lot of natural talent athletically. However, the coordination on a longboard was not high up on that list.
You have to have experience on a board of some sort. I mean, being in that position and knowing how to move your body and shift your weight, those things come into play.
I think he's gone snowboarding before, so he has a little bit. It's similar, but it's not quite the same. A lot of different controls, and I've never tried this before, but he wants to so bad. So he's riding the board. He's getting a little more comfortable. It's in low mode, so he's only doing maybe 4 to 7 miles per hour because he's trying to switch through gears. And he gets real comfortable with it. He's like, hey, what if I controlled it for you? And I was like, yeah, sure. And he just puts it on media or on high. So I'm doing about 15 to 20 miles per hour. And he just cranks it up. And I take off and I have to push him back because at a certain point it disconnects from the remote.
Yeah.
And he didn't realize how close, in proximity to the remote it requires. So he stood on the board and I did the same thing for him, and I just ripped it. And he wasn't going as fast, but probably 14-ish miles per hour. And he takes off, but he doesn't know how to stop on a longboard manually. Mm-hmm. So he goes flying off. And I mean, you got cross traffic at the end, and they're not very busy roads, but it's still concerning enough that if he wasn't a naturally athletic person, he probably would have just rolled into traffic, but he had to hop off the board and stop it real quick. And yeah, it was It's a good thing he was using 99% of his attention.
Right. Mm-hmm. But that's with anything. We all get comfortable. That actually, it's kind of funny because it comes all back around to you and your editing and everybody doing their thing. You get in a habit and you do your thing. You get comfortable. That's when you get sloppy.
Sloppy.
We need to give you like a practice gimbal that's just like a wooden stick and like put a brick on top of it and
a brick,
some sort of weight to just simulate you holding a gimbal and a camera. Because you're not doing this with any real equipment.
That's the hard part though. Is I still like it makes like part of it. I know it would make a very interesting video.
It would be really cool, but oh my god.
Well, we have an old gimbal up there. It's only worth like $100.
Only 100. Well.
That's worth it.
We could sell it and have $100.
The Ronin's like 400 plus.
Yeah.
And I say we load it fully down. We'll put the focus motor on it and everything. All the kit, and even with the Ninja and a deity, and just
I think that's a great idea.
Put the
Let's do it.
MacBook on there.
Put the MacBook on top, so you have a monitor.
Do a full live stream.
Yeah, just do it live.
Okay. All right. No. Live streaming longboard footage, regardless of the gimbal, like just live streamed footage on the longboard, actually does sound like kind of a cool concept.
I think you could do that with a GoPro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because it connects to your phone.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I'm like, it is kind of funny. We're like, oh, we want to throw this camera and a gimbal and all this stuff when you could just hold a GoPro.
Yeah. You could. Why aren't you wanting to use a GoPro?
I understand the sensors and all those things are different, and like the other footage will be better and steadier and more beautiful. But like, we should start with that.
Start with the GoPro because we need a GoPro. I don't think we have.
I have a GoPro. Oh. It's in the bottom of a lake.
Well,
so you don't have it.
You don't really have it.
Arizona. Well, I know.
So you don't have it.
Well, I know where it's at
anymore. It's the lakes.
I know the vicinity. Of where it was.
Okay. I know where the moon is, but it's not mine.
Thank you, David. No, I have a GoPro that I never use. I really just need to have you guys use it.
You just need to dream bigger, David. Elon's like, I want Mars, and he's getting it, man.
Well, he's sending his own stuff to Mars. Well, he's sending old people to Mars first.
He's a billionaire.
Well, I'm just saying, if you wanted the moon, you could have it. And I think we should do like a road trip and go get the GoPro out of the lake.
How deep do you think it is?
It's not.
Oh, it's like wading. It's about chest high.
Then why'd you leave it?
It was really muddy and I couldn't find it. Like, it's unclear water and it was up in the mountains. The water was about 30. Okay.
Don't they have those little floater things
degrees
that you touch?
That's plenty.
Like a handle that floats.
Okay, you know what? That's way too cold because that's close to freezing.
Super cold.
It was about 55 degrees because the weather was about 70 and it was in early spring.
Whatever.
I was kayaking with
I'll
a
buy
suction cup.
Oh, yeah.
And my mom's like, hey, don't do that. And I said,
oh, man,
I'm going to get good footage. And my mom's like, don't do that.
Wow, that story kind of parallels like something. I don't know what, though.
Don't use the gimbal on the board. And then David's like, don't do that. And then
don't do that.
Here's the you know what? There should be
risk it for the biscuit.
Here's the stakes. If you fail, then we get the new Ronin S2.
No, don't stop it.
We have to buy it.
So you want me to break it so that we get a new gimbal, but I don't like spending money.
Right. So
that's the stakes.
You see how I'm flipping the script on you now. Because now you actually have a reason not to die.
This is how we're gonna have to frame all of our videos. So we've been talking about this for a while, like our BTS. We want a narrative to these, like our behind the scenes for when we do shoots. We want a grand narrative, and narratives require stakes.
So it's entertaining. It doesn't come off flat.
It's not a documentary. I mean, at the moment, the way we've been editing them, it is a documentary with some comedic moments to help with pacing. And David does a really good job of that, helping out with some of those. You've been putting together a lot of that, and I'll do some like final tweaks to put a little polish on it. That final 20%.
The 20%.
But we're getting better at storytelling. I think personally,
I agree.
It's one of the things that I've.
Shush.
That is a great benchmark to get better from. All right.
It's an easy benchmark. It's like setting it as low as possible.
Yeah.
So I've been doing research on the side for the last, not in the last week, but prior to that, for about the last 2 months on like character development and writing and writing techniques and how to make compelling videos and putting in a lot of effort. And it keeps coming back to what is the story? What is the narrative? And I feel like we've gotten that down, but it's still not enough. So I'm starting to dig deeper. And the next thing that I think we need to implement is stakes.
Yeah.
In a good, compelling way. Something that when people are watching, they find either relatable or realistic enough. Like it can't be too far out, but it can be on the edge of like crazy.
There's a fine line between like realistic and just straight up clickbait.
Yeah, definitely.
I just saw a video. It's a super cool, I don't know what the universe is called. It's a guy made a comic book series, and now he's taken that world and he's opened it up to other artists to contribute to it in like a game type setting. And a lot of the issues they have with it is as they're competing to get their parts into the story is like it's not captivating enough, or it's very generic, and like the pacing and all that is like so predictable where it's like, oh, I'm gonna fight this other character, oh, I'm not good enough, then I find a power within me to overcome it. It's like everybody's heard that story over and over, and learning to get that like captivating, like interesting thing is super critical to winning in that competition. And so that you can have beautiful art, beautiful scenes shot, but if you don't have that great story, then that you're going to be falling flat.
And we don't want that. We want people to watch our stuff.
We do not.
Matter.
Let's talk about a little segue for David, because we've both been going back and forth mostly.
Sure. David.
Talk a little too much.
Yeah.
So there is a YouTuber with the channel Stuff Made Here, and he is a guy that likes to make things basically from scratch and design and do a lot of manufacturing. And he's working on a special project that is collaborated with Lockpicking Lawyer. And I was hoping that you would share a little bit on what Lockpicking Lawyer is, because I know you've been really interested in him lately.
Yeah, he's a wonderful YouTube channel. Reddit loves him. He's like Reddit's little baby, even though he's older than a lot of people on Reddit, I think. But he is a lawyer who has a hobby of lockpicking, and he's really good at it. And
that's legit.
Yeah, it is really interesting because he's using it to like identify flaws in the stagnated market of lockpicking. And
smart.
The super cool thing with the Stuff Made Here channel is that he's just an engineer. He works at some company, so he just does this channel in his own spare time. He doesn't know anything about locks. He's like, I want to design a lock that can't be picked. And he comes at it from a completely different angle because he's not studied locks. He doesn't know anything. He's using his own knowledge and background, and he's made a lock that Lockpicking Lawyer has never seen a design like, which is super cool because, like, how has one not been made in this design? Why aren't these companies going out of their way to innovate something that is better than the rest of them?
Because they're thieves themselves.
They're cheap. That's their problem.
That's super cool.
Yeah, they are cheap. And like really, like Master Lock, one of the most popular lock brands in the United States, has like been using. Really? Where have you been living, boy?
I'm kidding.
Under a rock?
Under a rock. Sorry. Go ahead.
They've been using like the same design for like the past 50 years. Like it's not really been changed at all. It might not be 50, but it's like more than 20. And that's insane. Like they just don't care to change anything because it works. People are lazy. They don't care.
Yeah. Nobody challenges it.
Well, plus there's a reason you can go to the dollar store and buy a lock.
Yeah.
Like it's $1.
Yeah, that's true. Padlock.
Yeah. So the reason I brought him up specifically is because we're talking about like storytelling and in our process of like growing our company. The last episode we're talking about what changes we're making. Well, the Stuff Made Here guy brought up an interesting philosophy that I refer to as agile or waterfall approach to design.
Oh yeah.
And his approach, he has more of a joke about it, but it's basically make something work as crappily as possible. Like, what is the bare minimum I can put into making a project work? And he applies that to everything he does.
It's like a proof of concept. Just make it work. Don't try to make it look pretty or anything. Yeah.
So he starts doing a waterfall or agile approach, and he goes back on his prototype or his mock-up or whatever his first working thing is. And then he'll work on like the UI if it's software based, or the textures and the feel and the sound design of a mechanical feature or something like that, or user experience and all this. There's a number of things that goes into a good product, and he worries about those after the product at least works. So with the podcast, we talked about bringing guests on. That is our tweak. We have it working. We're able to consistently put out on a weekly basis. We've been consistently putting out BTS as we've recorded them. Same with the tutorials, and we're constantly looking for, this is working this well, like this percentage is successful. How do we get it a little bit better? What can we throw at it and make it even better? So I don't know. I saw that. I thought of you because I know that's something you're really into now.
No, it's a great parallel because like just with all the locks or whatever, you don't want to stagnate. You want to be looking for what makes you unique, what makes you different, improve yourself. You want to be constantly improving yourself and, you know, make it more fun for everybody.
More efficient.
Well, being more efficient. That's the other thing too. You want to find something that works and then like make it fun and then add in like all the pretty stuff later. Because if you don't have like that core just underlying factor of like, this is working. It's like Apple kind of. They just make something that works, then they make it all pretty, but then they take like 2 years to do it, and they say they invented it. So like,
the difference,
just like Apple.
The difference is they do all of those steps before they release it, and then like companies like Microsoft, like, it just works, and then we'll ship updates later.
We'll figure it out later.
They give you the like, we made it work somehow, but they didn't make it look pretty and everything. Ooh, you got the little light going on.
Oh, that's awesome.
Orange hue.
Yeah, nice.
The light bulb's on. We
My
got ideas coming through.
Oh, you guys just made me think of something. I lost it. Sorry.
I did
You're
too.
fine.
I just
It was literally there, and then the light came on, and I lost it all.
Apple.
ironic.
We're talking about Apple, Microsoft making things that are kind of crappy.
Agile workflow, video ideas.
Oh, better. Yeah, I got you. So I also will draw the parallel as well with like when I first kind of started getting into some of these things when it was media creation and photography and all those types. It was so hard for me because it was like I wanted the end Apple product at the beginning. You know what I mean? Like, and then I would then not be able to get it there because of lack of skill, and then wouldn't put anything out at all.
Yeah, that was me too.
Yeah. But now I'm flip-flop. Now it's been great. Like, you put it out, you give it a shot, and you iterate on that and make it better. And as long as you're getting better, you're improving, like, that's good.
So what do you accredit to that change?
It was honestly a mental thing. I just eventually was like, I will never put out content if I don't make a switch in my head. You know what I mean? And I wanted to achieve putting out content on a regular basis. So it was about, you know, finding a way to achieve the goal. And I had to figure out the way to, and eventually with time, you get more comfortable. You know, you're like, oh, you know, at first you might not be comfortable in front of the camera. Then eventually you feel better about that. And I attribute a lot of that to our partnership. A lot, because literally like one of the first times, so if you guys go in and watch some of our videos, if you go to the team channel and you watch the BTS that we did for the Hard Truth Hill shoot, that BTS that we did commentary over, literally I came over and he's like, hey, we're going to do this. I didn't quite understand what he meant. And literally Tristan sits me down in a chair and just starts talking and boots up the camera. And I'm just like, so if I feel awkward, like he threw me into it and I wasn't sure what to do. And I felt like Ricky Bobby, like, what do I do with my hands?
Yeah.
And now, like, I feel completely comfortable in front of a camera and you just talk and you do your thing. Sometimes you feel like maybe I should just get out of the way because, like, I'm like, hey, what's up? But yeah, so I contributed a lot to that. So I think that all works together.
Yeah, I was going to say deadlines are probably of what helped us the most, or at least helped from my perspective. However, people always have deadlines. Like, as an individual, you always have deadlines, but the thing that makes it work, like you said, was the partnership. And I think it's the accountability of, like, if I screw up, this person can't do their job. And this is a principle that I was taught by someone I used to work with, is I want to do my job the best I can. And if my job's dependent on you to do yours, I'm going to push you to get yours done the best you can because it makes my job easier or it allows me to do my job.
Yep.
So,
and it is not, accountability is huge, like you said too. Like it's been so nice. Like, so somebody got a hold of us and I needed to get everything scheduled with them for like a real estate shoot. And I was so busy, I just forgot. And then the next day Tristan's like, hey, did you reach out to this person? And I was like, oh, but that accountability, we got the job and we're going to get it finished up here soon and we'll be good to go. So it's like before when you're accountable on your own, it's kind of like, hey, I forgot that. And you probably lost out on work. So it's a win-win all around, just saying.
Yeah. One of the things I like about YouTubers is that you can see their work progress in that way. Yes. You can go back 5 years, even 2 years from their latest video.
Yeah.
You can look,
if it's like JonTron, you just go back 3 videos.
Gosh, John, we love you. With the Lockpicking the Warrior, I actually watched one of his videos today from 5 years ago. And you could tell, like, it has like all the same structure, all the same content, but it was much different. Just like the flow of it, how he held himself in front of the camera. He was much more soft spoken. That could have been the mic, but like you could tell he was like talking kind of quieter. And it's just interesting because you can also use that to study, like what did they change, even though it's like the same basic content they're delivering from like then to now. Like in KBHD, he's striving to change everything about what he does all the time.
Yes.
And it's insane how much his videos change just literally from like 2 to 3 videos.
It's true. Have you ever seen the older Snazzy Labs?
I think so. Like it is. That's also the problem. It's jarring when like they improve so fast because like, oh, it's only 2 years ago. It's not that different. You're like, oh God, no.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. A lot of the YouTubers I watch are not like recent uploaders. They're not like regularly scheduled content. I watch like old videos that I used to watch, or I'll find somebody that collaborated with somebody I used to watch, and it's like a whole treasure trove. And then you find it's like watching a TV show, and you get to the end, and you're like, wait, where's the next season? And you realize they stopped uploading like 2015, but they still had 5 years of content. And it's like, oh, this is so good. But even though that content was from 2015 and prior, you can still see that growth. It's like it's like watching TV and seeing the character development, except it's a real person. And I think that's such a cool thing. Yeah, you get to be a part of the journey.
That's what we're trying to do with you guys. We want you to be a part of our journey.
Join us today on our journey.
Speaking of journey, I said I'd bring it up. Jeremy Miller, I love you.
Stop believing.
I love you so much, buddy. We've had him on the podcast. He's a great guy, and he tells this story, and I've seen him posted on Facebook a couple of times about how he started a board business, like longboard, actually, ironically, and it had either $10,000 invested. I don't remember if it was his own or it was like an angel donor, but he had money. He invested and the business went under. However, he's doing really well now, also doing entrepreneurial work. And it became like a running joke that entrepreneurs, like the successful entrepreneur in that community, like when you brag, like how much do you lift is like what you brag about with your gym buddies. Yeah. The entrepreneurial brag is like how much money did you lose out on some venture.
Pretty much.
So recently I had an experience with like the PPP money. We don't usually talk about money politics. There's a lot of controversial stuff. However, I think there's a lesson to be learned, and that is it is a service that you're paying for whenever you have like somebody helping your business. And it's really important that you find people that help your business and you can trust and you have personal relationships with, because whenever you're starting out a business as an entrepreneur, you want people that actually believe in the product, because they'll be there to help support you in the good and the bad. They're not just like shareholders that are there for board meetings when they want something from you.
Pull out immediately once they see that the profits are going in the negative.
Yeah, exactly. Sell AMC and all that. Sell. If you are a small business owner or just somebody that wants to like grow a brand or something like that, it's really important that you find people around you, employees, partners, friends to help with your shoots, or people to help promote what you're doing. Make sure those people are ones that support you wholly and have your best interest in mind, because if not, you could get in a situation where they put other people in a different priority and you're not as high up on that list for whatever reason. You know, everybody's got their reason. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, it's an important decision for you to make.
Yes.
And I did not invest enough time in finding somebody that I think aligned with that. And I just went with a recommendation. I took it as is. And it ended up costing me a little more than Jeremy Miller's. So I don't know if you're seeing this, I think I'm the better entrepreneur. Hit me up. We can talk about the exact number. But yeah, that's my little lesson for finding supportive teams.
A little
ominous.
Well, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. It is what it is.
We talked about that we weren't going to do that.
We recovered. We recovered from the situation, and we're doing fine.
Yeah, it's a good lesson learned as well.
Yeah.
So,
but honestly, we are close to an hour. I don't know if we want to. I mean, we go to like an hour 20 sometimes. I've never seen. Actually, it's a good time to ask. How long do you guys want them to be? What do you guys like? How much time you got for when you're doing the dishes?
Right. I did want to say, hopefully, because you're talking about teams and surrounding yourself by people.
Yeah.
We are getting ready, and maybe by the time this podcast comes out, we'll have everything in place, but we are getting ready to start looking for possibly somebody to help offload some of our editing work.
I think it probably won't be in the next 2 weeks that we find someone.
No, I meant like that we actually
will probably start looking in the next 2 weeks. So if you're watching this,
I feel like if you've made it to this point, you in the podcast, you have somewhat of an investment in what we're doing and you care a little bit. So this is a great spot to mention it. But yeah, so again, we're not, it would be awesome if you have some camera experience and you'd like to be out in the field, but we mainly need somebody to help offload the workflow with editing. Most of the stuff just to get projects started or help.
It's something you can do from home. If you work within the Columbus, Indiana region, like give or take a half hour of drive time. This is something we would give you most of the content on a drive, and it would be edited at your location, and you can send it back. It'll be pretty flexible.
Yeah.
Use Final Cut. Have to use Final Cut.
Yes, you have to be Apple-based Final Cut.
If you're an editor with previous experience, though, like a decent amount of experience, the transition to Final Cut is not that intimidating.
True.
We have a video out of Cole learning it in one day, and he still managed to do that and beat me before we had these shelves built behind me.
I don't think that's been released.
Well, it's not been released. Oh, okay. This comes out in 2 weeks. So
yeah, we'll see. This is here right now. Like, this is how far behind we are.
Yeah.
On internal projects.
Yes, on internal projects. Yes, of course. We want to keep up. I mean, obviously, the paying client work, we are still within our deadlines, and we're doing a good job with that. But it's going to get harder over time, and we'd like to be able to keep up on all projects. So
yeah,
there you go.
If you want to submit your information, send it to jobs@triflix.com.
Perfect. You better make sure we get that created in the next 2 weeks.
Yep.
I'm going to do it as soon as I get home.
And or feel free to reach out through any of our social platforms. I manage those, so I will see anything that comes through. So
yeah, and if you want to work for us but you don't know how to edit, I'm sorry, but you could at least leave like a like or a comment or subscribe.
You could give us money. I like right off the bat. David's like, "Give me money." Don't we have a Patreon?
Yeah, we
advertise a Patreon.
That is so out of date. Honestly, you could probably update that.
I probably need to look at it.
I'll give you all the logins.
Trello.
Put it on my list.
Yeah.
I'll do it now.
But anyways, yeah. Thanks everybody that's been listening. We appreciate you, and yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Hope you learned something.
What are we talking about next week?
Next time.
Next week.
I don't know what we're talking about next time, but David, tell us about this project on our way out.
That could be next week.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I flashed it at the start. I said we were going to talk.
Let's save it. Come on,
save it for next week, man.
It's a good story. Yes.
Yeah, it's a great story.
Okay, so come back for it.
Next time, come to the TRIFLIX cast when you find out how David almost deleted my whole company.
I did.
Ta-da!
Ba-da-ba.
Oh, that's actually a little better. Yeah. how David deleted the whole company. I like that. David Baker deleted my company.
I'm editing this.